The movie begins with a starry night. There is a small village with beautiful moonlight and serene surroundings all around. Just then, a small rat appears and starts singing. The rat's name happens to be Abby, who is just jumping around. Abby then goes on to climb a wooden ladder. She enters the house where a young woman seems to be baking bread on the wooden stove. The young woman's name is Mary. After cooking, Mary begins to pray. She is a very religious woman. Abby notices Mary praying and tries unsuccessfully to steal a large piece of bread. When Mary notices this, she offers the rat a piece of bread. Abby is overjoyed to see this and thanks Mary. Mary is a very kind and wonderful woman. She lives in the small town of Nazareth. It's a very pious place and Mary always prays there. Just then, she notices a bright light emanating from a star in the sky. Mary looks terrified as the flashing light falls on her. That's when an angel appears from heaven and informs Mary that she is to bear God's son. Mary is surprised to learn that, and she is immediately at a loss for words. After some time, she expresses her gratitude. Meanwhile, Abby witnesses this entire event and informs the other animals in town. They all notice the bright star in the sky. The entire town of Nazareth encounters this miracle of starlight. On the other hand, we see a young donkey who always works alongside his father in a wheat mill. Just then, Dave, a small dove, flies in. Dave is the donkey's friend. The two friends always wish to escape their mundane lives by joining the royal caravan. There, they can ride with the big horses and be adored by crowds. However, the older donkey dismisses their wish. The young donkey continues to fantasize about the day when he will be free of this boring life. He doesn't want to carry a load and work in a mill all his life. He believes that a miracle will occur in his life soon. The young donkey, whose name is Thendo, is confident that he will be able to escape. Thus, he and his best friend, Dave, devise a plan to get out of there. The two friends do everything they can to be free from their boring lives. They even help the other donkeys to be free, but end up ruining the mill and their house while doing so. Despite this, they don't give up their desire to be free. They keep working until they succeed. However, when a young donkey tries to flee from there, he is apprehended by his owner. This makes Thendo feel terrible as he thinks he is the cause of all this. However, he continues his work with his father and never gives up. He believes that one day he will be able to get out of the mill. Thendo tries day and night as he is determined to succeed. 6 months pass by and he's still trapped at the mill. At present, Thendo has almost given up on his dreams. His father realizes how unhappy he is and watches how Thendo, too, has accepted his fate. Because of this, he loosens the young donkey's collar and knocks out the miller, allowing his son to flee. Thendo runs out and waits for his father to run away with him as well. But the older donkey has no intention to do so. He simply helps his son flee from there. He tells his son to run from there and never come back. Thendo agrees and does exactly that. His father wishes him the best of luck and asks him to just live his dream. Dave also pursues Thendo as he bolts into the street. The mill owner pursues and nearly captures the donkey, but he escapes and hides elsewhere. Mary, on the other hand, is about to celebrate her marriage to Joseph. She returns home, and just as she is about to tell Joseph the truth, the door opens to reveal a surprise party. Mary hasn't told Joseph that she's pregnant. She's scared to do so. A wedding reception is being held for the newlyweds. Everyone is present there. Sometime later, everyone leaves, and only Mary and Joseph remain. Just then, Mary discovers Thendo hidden beneath a table and believes it is Joseph's. However, Joseph denies ownership of the donkey, and Mary notices an injury on his leg. Thendo starts to like Mary after she treats him nicely. She decides on the name Boaz, or just Bo for him. From now on, he gets the name Bo and he loves it. Right then, Joseph notices Mary's belly, and she reveals that the baby is the Messiah. She tells all about God's plan, and talks about how her son will be the king one day. The couple believes that God chose Mary and Joseph to raise a future king. However, Joseph is still stunned and perplexed about this. Because of this, he seeks God's guidance. After doing so, he understands everything and promises to assist Mary. The two decide to protect the baby and bring him safely into the world. They also make a promise to protect each other in any difficult situation. The next morning, Dave comes to Bo and tells him that he should stay here until healed properly. This is because the mill owner is still looking for Bo. Bo understands this and agrees. As Mary has also been very helpful to him, Bo decides to rest for a couple of days. After that, he and Dave could travel together. Sometime later, Dave consoles Bo, making him feel at ease. After that, Dave also departs, but Bo remains. 3 months later, the three wise men called Felix, Cyrus, and Deborah respectively ride their camels to King Herod's palace. On their way, the men disagree about the purpose of their journey. Felix believes it is a birthday party, whereas Cyrus believes it is a baby shower. Meanwhile, Deborah believes they are going to meet the Messiah. Because of this, the other two believe she is insane. The three finally arrive at King Herod's home. Herod believes the wise men's gifts are for him. That's when one of them informs the king that they are for the new king. Feeling threatened, Herod urges the men and their camels to stay as guests, while he dispatches his hunter and 2 dogs, Thaddeus and Rufus, to assassinate the new king. On their way, Thaddeus and Rufus overhear Abby telling the other mice about Mary. The dogs capture Abby and threaten to eat her. Abby gets scared, and she tells them everything she knows. Meanwhile, Joseph wants to bind Bo but cannot take him, so he departs with Mary. Mary and Joseph together leave Nazareth in preparation for the baby's birth, while Bo and Dave remain back. At home, Bo senses that something is wrong and tries to hide. Just then, the hunter and his dogs break into their home. Dave tries to create a distraction so that Bo can escape, but the dogs notice him. Bo doesn't know anything about the three wise men, so he believes that the dogs were sent by the miller. Scared, he unintentionally reveals that he is being cared for by Mary. After some time, Bo realizes that Mary and her children are in danger. As they've been nothing but nice to him, Bo decides to save them. He and Dave then flee from the dogs and rush to Mary's aid. While running, Bo falls off a cliff. Just then Ruth, a sheep who has abandoned her flock, assists him in getting back up. She eventually joins Bo and Dave in their pursuit of Mary and Joseph. The three finally find Mary and Joseph, but unfortunately, they have been discovered by hunters and dogs once again. Bo leads Mary to a market where they can hide. Mary goes to get water near a well, and that's when the hunter approaches her. All of a sudden, Bo pushes a cart down the hill to stop him, but it collides with another cart, causing a chain reaction that destroys most of the market. This chaos sends the hunter down the well. The villagers are furious at Bo, and Joseph chastises him for his actions. Mary and her child must be rescued from there by the king's hunters. Joseph understands all this and gets mad at Bo. Enraged, he accuses Bo of causing him problems. Joseph even goes on to say that Bo is useless. Bo is so heartbroken by this that he decides to leave. Bo actually wanted to save the couple, but he couldn't understand Mary and Joseph, so he did all this. After some time, Bo decides to venture out on his own in search of the royal caravan. Dave follows him as well, and the two of them eventually find it. However, Bo goes on to realize that he enjoyed being with Mary and wishes to return. Bo understands that Mary had helped him as if he were her own family when he was in need, so he should help Mary and Joseph. Dave decides to join Bo as well. Together, they vow to cast away any problems caused to Mary and Joseph. Dave is dissatisfied to find out that they can't join the caravan, but since his best friend won't be with him, Dave realizes that going to the caravan isn't going to be fun. Eventually, the two return to assist Mary. On the other hand, the breakdown of Mary and Joseph's cart forces them to confront their fears and doubts about the situation. However, the two decide to work together and get through it. They then notice Bo approaching them. Bo returns to them happily and collects all of their belongings. Suddenly, Mary begins to have contractions and concludes that the baby is on its way. Joseph starts panicking and takes everything from Bo. Bo then carries Mary and walks towards a safe place. When the group arrives in Bethlehem, they try to find shelter, but everything is full. Just then, the miller spots Bo and kidnaps him, tossing him into a manger. Bo is disheartened to be trapped yet again, but when he sees all the animals around him, he gets an idea. He realizes that he must escape and help Mary and Joseph because they are in danger. Their unborn child is also in jeopardy. Inside the manger, Bo meets a goat named Zach, a cow named Edith, and a horse named Lee. They all complain about not being able to sleep because the star shines brightly through the manger. Because of this, Bo believes that this is where the baby should be born. The three animals then help him flee in order to find Mary and Joseph. On the other hand, Ruth runs into her flock and tries to persuade them to assist her. However, they are still angry at her for abandoning them. Just then, an angel appears to the shepherds and informs them that the baby is on his way. Because of this, the sheep immediately believe Ruth. Meanwhile, Dave comes across the camels who had attempted to flee Herod's home. It turns out that they were caught and tied to a pole. At the same time, the hunters and dogs discover Mary and plan to eliminate her. Then, unexpectedly, someone arrives to help Joseph and Mary. Joseph goes on to realize what Bo was feeling. Just then, Bo meets the couple and leads them into the stable. He quickly leaves when he sees the hunter looking for Mary and Joseph. Bo runs away from the manger and distracts the hunter, causing him to flee to the opposite side. As a result, all of the animals band together to stop the goons and knock them off a cliff. While Bo tries to save Thaddeus and Rufus, the hunter hangs on. They are dropped by the hunter, but Bo saves them. The hunter eventually pulls himself up with his sword, but the cliff breaks off, and he falls to his death. Despite all the trouble, Bo manages to save both of the hunter's dogs. He then enters the stable, and notices that all of the animals appear to be excited. It seems that the Messiah has been born. All the animals make their way to the manger, where Mary has just given birth to a baby boy. Finally, the three wise men arrive to meet their new king. As per tradition, they give Mary all of their gifts for her son. Mary is happy to see her son born and names him Jesus. The animals are all in awe. Even Thaddeus and Rufus are taken aback and vow to be good dogs. Just then, Deborah claims that this will be a story told for thousands of years, but Felix and Cyrus think she's crazy. Finally, Mary invites Bo to come and see Jesus with them. Bo agrees and goes to meet Jesus. He gets very happy and emotional. Realizing that his work is done, Bo tries to leave, but Mary stops him. She asks him to stay with them forever. That's when Bo realizes that his dream of being a part of a caravan has come true. He is happy that he will get to remain with the future king. Bo believes that he will always be a part of the caravan. Seeing as all their wishes have come true, Bo and Dave are both ecstatic. They think that the miracle has finally happened. In the end, Bo smiles as he sits next to Mary after her requests. The movie concludes with a retelling of Jesus' birth.